What's going on, guys? Car Review Guys here. My name is AJ, and today and this week we are with the 2022 Mazda 3 Hatchback Turbo Premium Plus, and it's a 250 horsepower little rocket, in my opinion. It's pretty good. Anyway, without further ado, let's jump into this review. Let's roll! Alrighty, let's start with the exterior of the vehicle here, and let's start off with the wheels right here in front of us. As you can see there, they're 215/45 R18, so it's an 18-inch wheel size, and 215 is a little bit skinny for this car. 0 to 60 is roughly 5.7, 5.5, somewhere in there, seconds for 0 to 60. So it could use a little bit of a beefier, fatter tire, but nonetheless, that's what's on this vehicle. So working our way around, you do have keyless entry right here, which is just unlock there and obviously lock there. Pretty standard on Mazda. Coming around to the back here, obviously it's a hatchback. Now, if you're considering the sedan version of this instead of the hatch, pretty much every single thing applies that I'm telling you, other than the aesthetics. Everything else should be the same. 2.5 liter turbocharged engine. And personally, I'm gonna be honest, I personally am not a huge hatch fan. However, there is a lot of things on this vehicle that just looks really, really good considering it's a hatch. So, for instance, these taillights in the back, very honestly, you wouldn't even think Japan, in my opinion. I would think Ferrari. They look very Ferrari-esque. I'll put a picture here. Exactly. So they're like rounded tail lights, look very Ferrari-esque. They look good. LED lights. You do have dual exhaust down there below. Obviously like a piano black type of exterior there, which is nice. While we're back here, in order to open it up, it is hidden behind the emblem, which is pretty nice, but it is not power. You actually have to lift it yourself. So, you know, that's one thing maybe they could improve upon eventually. Continuing around the side of the vehicle, obviously you can see the side profile there. The rear is pretty thick. It looks good from the exterior. However, this is a pretty big blind spot when driving, but it does come standard with blind spot monitoring. So that is one thing to consider. It does help in this vehicle. Alrighty, up in the front, we do have LED headlamps, and again, they just look really, really good on the Mazda. Mazda does a really, really good job on this as well. On this trim level, you do have this big extra front splitter, and it does stick out. You can see there, it sticks out pretty well, which does look pretty good on this vehicle. It is pretty aggressive considering what this is. And I gotta be honest, I'm sweating to death now. It's like 108 degrees here in Arizona. I'm always complaining about how hot it is here, but you know what? Let's just wait till winter, and then all you East Coast people or wherever you're at, you're in snow and it's 65 to 75 degrees here, and I'm just enjoying it. Anyway, let's jump into the interior of the vehicle. And so as we jump in, let's talk about the back seat really quickly. So opening the door here, this is what your rear looks like. Pretty similar to the front, just no speaker, at least in chrome. There's a speaker because it's a 12 speaker Bose in this vehicle, and I'm going to tell you something, it sounds good. Now, continuing on into the back seat, so you will notice it is nice leather all the way down. Usually there's like black plastic or whatever here to like protect, and they went against that, and I really love this. It's so nice. Perforated red leather, which I love. You can also get black. But let's step into the back and let's see what it's like here. This is my first time being in the back, I'm not gonna lie. All right, we are in the back of the vehicle. Just stepped in here, as you just saw, and the profile is pretty low. I'm not gonna lie, it is pretty low, okay? So I'm 5'9", that's where I sit. And you can see I've got maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches knee room, and then headroom. You can see my head actually sits above this pillar. So hopefully this is actually clear. So whenever you get in, be careful. Don't smack your head because it is pretty low. It's not a big deal, just dip down a little bit and like you're fine. I'm just pointing it out that is pretty low. Headspace is also pretty limited. It is really dark, I do apologize, but I only have about that much space. So what is that, 1.5 inches, 2 inches maybe? So yeah, that's the back seat. So that pretty much sums it up, to be honest. I mean, you have a little like cup holder there, which fairly standard, to be honest. But anyway, let's jump up into the front of this vehicle. All right, let's do the head check on this bad Jackson. Let's see here. Yeah, I had no issues getting into the front. It's nowhere near, like the pillar is a little bit higher. You can see it actually slopes up, and down here it's a little bit lower. So it's actually higher there. So no issues getting in this vehicle. Now the seat does go up and down. So like if you go up, then obviously like you could be smacking your head. I don't sit like that. I sit honestly at the lowest point. So for me, no issue. Let's talk about the interior. Mazda, in my opinion, just always outdoes themselves. It just, right away, it just feels so premium. They don't miss any detail, I'm telling you, they just don't. So, like for example, over here, you have this nice brushed aluminum. You have soft touch red leather. You have soft touch, not as soft as this because that's actual leather, but still soft touch, black. And then you come down, you have this nice chrome plating here. You have your window switches that again have these nice little bezels to them, which are super nice. They feel quality. They don't move or shake, which is really good. Moving over here, you do have your memory setting 1 and 2 down there. Hopefully you can see that. Let me zoom in right there. And you have your camera right here. So if you want to check up there whenever you're parking, if it doesn't come up, you can always press that. That is very helpful. Moving over to the steering wheel. The steering wheel has the standard, what I call standard Mazda buttons, right? So you have your volume, track, all of your phone stuff, info. Moving over to the right, this is all your cruise control stuff. So this is, it does have adaptive cruise control in this vehicle. So this is to plus minus as far as like how far you want your vehicle to follow. And then obviously setting the cruise. Your stocks are pretty standard on both back sides. Making our way over to the center area, you do have the push start stop button, which is right there. It's actually in a good location. Some vehicles not all that great. This one's absolutely fine. It has heated steering wheel. It has heated seats, hazards, obviously your defrosters, and my only complaint is where are the ventilated seats on the top of the line? That's my only question. So you can't get that, not an option. Moving on. So coming on down, you do have your selector for sport mode or not. And then this is how you control your infotainment up here with your 8.8-inch screen. I almost said touchscreen because it's such a habit, but it is not a touchscreen, okay? You use this down here and you can control it. Now, I had a Mazda last week as well, and even after a week, I got absolutely used to that. I didn't have any issues. The only thing I wish that it was touchscreen for, honestly, is navigation. For me, that's a little bit quicker. But nonetheless, I understand Mazda's rationale. They think this is safer than being distracted by a touchscreen. And the center console is a little quirky. So you hit a button underneath here. It slides backwards, as you can see there, and then you can tilt it. So, I mean, it's a little quirky. It's not very deep, as you can see there. You have a couple USBs there and just a normal 12 volt there. Now, there is an option in this vehicle that you can get in the bottom of this console, a wireless phone charger. It's $250 or $350. One of the two is what it costs, so not a big deal. This one doesn't have it, but it is an option if you want a wireless phone charger. And last but not least, about the interior before we head on our drive. So just touching on all of the materials again, I've already touched on the door. So this is very soft touch. You can see it even absorbed there probably on camera. This is piano black, which again looks good. Some people are concerned it may show scratching, but hey, I mean, just be careful and it won't scratch, so it'll be fine. This is all soft touch, very soft touch leather. It does have heads-up display. I'm not sure if you can see it. Sometimes it comes up, sometimes it does not. And up here you do have, as you can see there, your home link, so you can actually pair your garage doors. And then a sunglasses holder there. And then you do have a sunroof, as you can see right there. It is not panoramic, so you can't get that. I assume that's something structural though, because it's a hatch. That'd be my guess, just engineering related. So that's not an option. It does have LED lamps in here, as you can see there, on and off. So again, the interior on Mazda, I always 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. I mean, you have like little things they could change, like the, you know, you can make this all LED opposed to just the middle one being LED. It looks super clean, it looks super nice, but you know, there's always room to change some things, right? But still, overall 10 out of 10 on Mazda for the interior. And just like that, it's time to take this 250 horsepower, all-wheel drive, 2.5 liter turbocharged motor on a drive. Let's roll. So now, the price tag on this vehicle, I have the window sticker here printed out. It is $34,795, but then you have to add $1,015 for shipping. So you're at $35,810 is what this vehicle is optioned out to be. Let's take this thing out on the road a little bit further and see what it's like just driving practically. Okay, let's roll. We get rolling here. Let's talk about the fuel economy one more time. You are going to get around, again, this is all-wheel drive. You're going to get about 31 highway and about 23 city, okay? And your average is about 26. And then this vehicle does have a 12.7 gallon tank. So it is kind of a small tank, so you may think like you're going through fuel pretty quickly, just for the number of stops that you're going to have to do. But it's I've said this before and I'll say it again. If it is an all-wheel drive vehicle and it gets anywhere near 30 miles to the gallon, there is nothing wrong with that MPG. Okay? All right, capiche. So my one concern on this vehicle was actually whenever I was driving it to my house today, I was very concerned because the last time I drove a little car was a Chevy Sonic, and it was a hatchback. And I'm gonna tell you, that car on the freeway floated all over the road. I mean, like if the wind blew just a little bit, it was like shake and bake, baby, left, right, and you could just feel it. And I was so concerned on this car because I was like, like what if it like does that? Like that's gonna be terrible. This car's planted and it only has 215s for the tires. If they put like some 235s on this thing, I don't even know. Like it's crazy because even at 215s, it was so planted. I would have never have known this is a Mazda 3 or even a hatchback. It was so planted. I was very impressed. Yeah. If you would have got my raw reaction, you would have been like, wow, okay, he is impressed. Because I really was. Like my wife was with me and I was just like, wow, like this thing actually drives so well. So now that we're out on the road, I will say I noticed this vehicle is very quiet. I actually noticed that earlier on the freeway as well whenever I was driving it. The only thing you hear a little bit is a little bit of tire to the ground. That's the only thing you can hear, just a little bit. As far as like wind noise though, I don't hear anything as far as that goes, which is good. And as I've already mentioned, the blind spot on the right side, you got to be careful there. Pay attention to your blind spot monitoring, pay attention to your mirrors where the cars are, because that is a blind spot. That's just, there's no way to put it. It's a hatchback. That's generally the case on most hatchbacks, so to be expected, it's there. As far as comfort goes in this vehicle, it's comfortable. For a small car, I have no complaints. Like, it doesn't feel narrow or tight. Now, it may be a little tight for someone if you're like both like 6'2", somewhere in there, and you're sitting front and back. I'll be honest, you're probably gonna be cramped in this vehicle. It's not gonna be very comfortable. But as far as like in a driver's seat driving, it's very comfortable. The seat on this car is, I have no problems with it. It's plenty cushy. On the driver's seat, it is all power. Now, they did cheap out a little bit, I won't lie. On the passenger, it is all manual. So, you know, it's not like a deal breaker by any stretch, but could Mazda maybe have spent just a little bit more? When a little bit, I mean like maybe like $300 to $500 more and made that power over there? I really do think so, and I think people definitely would have paid the difference just to have that. But it's not a deal breaker by any stretch. At least it wouldn't be for me, and I don't know why it would be for you, because honestly, the most important person is right here, and that's who's driving it, and it's power. The other thing I'll touch on as I'm driving it here is the adaptive cruise control. Works really well. It does exactly as it should. It slows down gradually, and it speeds up at a good rate, not too much. And I really like that. It does really well, and some vehicles do not. And this is the second Mazda back-to-back that I've driven, and it must just be Mazda across the board. They do really well with the adaptive cruise control. Now, again, I've mentioned this on my other Mazda review, the CX-50 that I did. It does have lane keep assist, but it is only 40 miles an hour and below. That's a little quirky to me. I'm not quite sure why they can't do like just like the full thing. To me, that makes not too much sense, but I'm sure there's a reason. I just don't know what it is. But whenever it is on and you are below 40 miles an hour, it does work. I just don't know of too many instances that you're below 40 miles an hour other than in traffic. There's some people that drive in like 35 mile an hour zones, but where I'm at, it's all 45 to really 75. So kind of just depends where you live, I guess, as to how useful that may be for you. We're at a light. We have all-wheel drive, and we need to take a left-hand turn. Let's put it in sport, and let's see what this thing feels like ripping around the turn here. And go. Oh. What? Holy goodness, brother. That's crazy. This thing didn't slip at all. This reminds me of my Kia Stinger GT2 all-wheel drive that I had, as far as like going around a turn with all-wheel drive, just punching it and it just goes. And it's so peppy, like, what? And then I have it in sport mode and it just holds the RPM, so I'm ready to go. Wow, that's awesome. All right, let's drop it back into normal here. And then the RPMs instantly go down. Wow, that's pretty good. Again, a vehicle that does 0 to 60 in like 5.5, roughly, give or take, real world, elevation, blah, 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 roughly 5.5 seconds. For this vehicle, for this price tag, for what you're getting, I think that's pretty good. I have no complaints on power. And again, I'm an Audi R8 and C7 Z06 owner, for those of you that are new to my channel. And so I know what fast is. And I'm here to tell you, and I buy and sell cars all the time, plus I get press vehicles, so I'm just telling you, this car has plenty of pep. So if you're wanting something that's a little bit sporty, but is also comfortable, and it's cheaper, considering, now $36,000 is not like pocket change by any stretch, but in comparison to anything else you may buy in today's market, this is a very good deal for what you get in this car. We have no one behind us. I really need to do a brake test here. I'm not gonna just straight up just smash them, but I'm gonna pretty quickly hit them down to 0, okay? As though there was something running out in front of me. So 3, 2, 1, go. Oh. Yeah, that's good. That's good. This car does have ventilated discs, so that definitely is gonna help if you're out there and you're actually gonna track this car. I don't know too many people that are gonna track this car per se, but it would be a good entry-level track car. So if you're going to, pretty good brakes for that. We're coming into just a little S-turn up here in front of us. Onto the brakes pretty quickly. Okay, it's holding good. It's going around the turn. I can feel the 215s. If we had some 235s on this thing, it would be pretty good. We're going around, we're going around. Yes, yep, that's not bad, that's not bad. Yeah, so that was really good. I mean, I had no issues with that. Again, if it had a little bit wider tires, I think that it would just take it to that next level, but like, that's good, that's impressive. I'm happy with the way this thing drives. And with how quiet it is, and again, the gas mileage for all-wheel drive, that is good. I'm sorry, but if you complain about gas mileage and being at 31, MPGs on the highway, don't get all-wheel drive. But the thing is, that's what makes this car. If this car was not all-wheel drive, I would not be as big of a fan as I am, because I'm telling you, it makes all the difference in the world. When you have 250 horsepower and it's only front-wheel drive, it sits there and just spins the tires, it chirps, it makes noise. Some people may find that kind of fun, but like, I want the car to stick, I want it to go, and this car goes and it sticks, and I like it. And I know I kind of mentioned earlier about the Bose speaker system very quickly. Unfortunately, I don't want to play any copyright music. And to be totally honest with you, I don't care what kind of fancy audio equipment you may or may not have. I'm going to tell you right now, audio does not come across on camera very well for exhaust note, for speakers, anything. But, so I'm just take my word for it. The Bose speakers in this car, very good. Very good. The Bose speakers in one of the other vehicles that I own, not very good. This one, good. So now that we got that covered, you know what I'm saying? We're good, we're good? All right, we're good. So the only thing I would kind of change from like an amenity standpoint, and this is gonna be probably the last few points I will wrap up, because I'm very impressed with this car. I think it's great for the price. I just wish, again, manufacturers should allow more options for people that want to pay more to get more. And the one thing I would add, especially living here in Arizona, I would definitely pay to get ventilated seats or cooled seats. Not an option on this car. Many other Mazdas, it's an option, like the CX-50 had it, but it's not in this car. So that's kind of a bummer. Wish I could pay to get that. And one of the other things that this vehicle does not have, that I've already mentioned, is power passenger seat. I would pay extra for that. I really would. It's not a deal breaker, but again, I would pay extra. So those are probably one of the two things that I would change. Powertrain on this vehicle, I don't think I would change hardly anything. It is a 6-speed automatic transmission. If it was me, if they offered it in a manual, like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't go wrong with a manual transmission. I think it's really fun. But if you live in the city, I get it. I wouldn't want it either. I would want the automatic because it gets old driving. But yeah, that would be the only thing that I wish, like, maybe you could get. And then, you know, the transmission, it shifts good. It's obviously not as fast as like a DCT, but I'm so happy that it's not like a CVT, because I'm not a fan of CVT transmissions personally. Everyone has their own opinion, but that's just me. So powertrain wise, I wouldn't change anything on this vehicle, to be totally honest. And it's such a fun car. Like, I can't get over how fun this car is to actually drive. And again, I am not personally, I'm not a hatchback fan. I would take this car exactly in the sedan version. That's what I would take personally. But there's so many people in the market for a hatchback. It's unbelievable. Like, there's so many, and this vehicle has got to be near the top of your list to be considering if you're in that market, because I've been changed a little bit after this vehicle, because I actually really enjoy it. So anyway, we do have at least 2 more videos coming out on this car, the 5 things I love and the 5 things that I think they could potentially improve to make it that next level. And that's going to be hard to come up with, again, because Mazda on the interiors and exteriors, nothing goes unlooked. They know exactly what they're doing. So those videos will be coming in the coming days. And if you guys are new to the channel, if it's your first time watching, feel free to subscribe. Stay around. Doesn't cost you anything. I'd appreciate it. And just like that, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.